So in this video, let's look at custom number formats in Microsoft Excel and then have some fun with them. Alright, so the first thing is to do a quick review. Here we have just some basic values with a general format, and what we see here in the cell is the same as we see in the formula bar. They look identical. And these values also look the same as the value to the left. They look identical. So custom number formats allow you to make positive numbers, negative numbers, as zero, and text all look differently while retaining the value that's in the cell. So the actual value doesn't change, but we can make it look differently. Alright, so let's just do a quick example. I'm going to take this one here, take these values in a cell, I'm going to copy them, and now I'm going to highlight these 4 cells, right click, format cells, and then in custom I'm going to go in here and paste this in, and when I click the OK button, we're going to see how the appearance will change, but these actual values will still be the same. So I click OK, and now we see how they look differently. Now there are many different combinations of these custom formats that you could use. Here, the last sheet, I have a bunch of really good articles that you can use to investigate further how you can use them. Alright, what's our requirement? A requirement is we need an easy way to change custom number formats to make everyone happy. So we have sales numbers, we have dates over here, and different people in our company want to see the sales values formatted in different ways. Let's look at our solution. So over here we have the same thing, the dates, the sales, and this is where what I've made a different line in our table for each person that they want to consume the data or read the data in a different way. And here is their preferred custom number format for each person. So now I'm going to go over here and I'm going to select a character from the list. When I do that, a couple of things are going to happen. First, we're going to see something appear down here. And the other thing is we're going to see these values change, the custom number formatting change based off of who we select here. So I'm going to go in here, I'll select the first person. We see this appear, and we see the sales numbers are formatted. So we get this name, we find him in here, he's the first one, and that's how he wants his numbers to be formatted. So that's what we see here. The values beneath it are still exactly the same, but on top of this sort of layer of makeup makes them appear differently. So that's how when we change the value in this cell, the custom format changes and this appears. So let's now do, so the custom number format is applied to these sales numbers using VBA, which is Excel's programming language. And I'm going to very quickly, at the bottom of the sheet here, I'm just going to right click on the sheet tab, view code, and we're going over to this special kind of code called event code. And what it's doing, it's looking for a change in the worksheet, but it's only looking at the target of this cell I2. It's not looking at all the cells. So if the value in cell I2 changes, then it's going to call this second macro. All right, so let's go back and see, right? So when we go like this and we change it, just that little change in that cell, this is cell I2, it's going to call that macro and run the macro. So let's go and look at the other macro here, which is in this module. This is the macro that basically, to make a long story short, and you can download this file and investigate this further, but it picks up the format, it looks for this name in this list. When it finds it, here we have the name here, Over Eager Otis. Here's his preferred custom number format. It picks this up, takes it into the code, and then selects this range and applies that formatting. So once again, if we go in here and change this, it picks up the custom number format for Lars, which is just general, and applies it to those cells. Alright, so let's move along here. And the next thing is, there's a couple of steps here, and the best way is just to download this file and play around with this and see how it works. But at a high level, there's about 3 main steps here, but I'm going to select this, and it says Group 2. I'm going to click one more time in this area, and now it says Picture 5. So this is just like a square, but it is attached to character cell address. So let's go and look at that. If I go Formulas, Name Manager, Character Cell Address, what is that doing? Well, this is using the indirect function to sort of create a dynamic reference to a cell, and it's looking at whatever is in the cell characters A18. So let's go over here and take a look at that. So it's going to A18, which is in here, it's hidden. And there's a cell reference that goes to C2. See how this is C2 up here? This whole thing is C2, this is D2, B2, and A2, corresponding to who we select in our dropdown. So let's just expand this a little bit. And back in here, I'm going to pick Helmut again. He's our CEO. And notice that this is his custom format. Let's look over here, and his picture is sitting in cell A2. So that's what this says. That's what all of this does. And then that will sort of dynamically select the right cell, and it's shaped at the same size as just this generic blank picture 5. So it picks it up like that. It is a little hard to describe, but once you start walking through it and playing around with it, you see how it works. So I'm just going to click on Show Instructions. But basically, we want to now look at what's behind this. So we have their names, and these names here are what ties into this part here and down here. You can sort of click on this and see it's tied to sheet characters cell A20 over here, right? It's tied to that particular cell. And see how we've got, let's look at the last little thing here. We've got the text in these blue bubbles, right? That white text. We can change that. It's dynamic. So let's go back into here. And what we have in these cells, we just type over. And let's type something in like, I'd like some root beer. And when I press the Enter key, that's going to change. So I press Enter. That changes. We could do it to any of these guys. Let's just say, don't touch my database, press Enter, and then we see it in the cell there, and back over here it updates because it's all dynamic. So let's go like that, and that's about it. You've got to really play around with this, and you could be very creative with these things. Take these pictures, put them in a cell, put in a bubble. There's different types of bubbles. Attach it to, see, this one is attached to C7, which is down here where we change it. The code as well, I've listed it down here with basically a description. But the code in this part, as we saw, is maybe the easier part. There's a bunch of steps that link this picture, blank picture 5, to either one of these 4 pictures or to a blank over here in cell K2. So once again, many fun things that we can do in Excel. And go to the last sheet here, and there's a bunch of very good links where you can learn more about custom formats.